Hello everybody. Today I'm going to talk about how design disrupts design and why there's never been a better time to be a designer. My name is Andreas Hauser. I lead a team called AppHouse Network and I'm part of SAP Design. We're a design agency. We offer design consulting for SAP customers. And let's go. Do you know why Sony did not invent the iPod? You can Google and find out why. But I'll tell you the story. In 2002, when the iPod came out, Sony was number one in music and video licenses. They were number one in mobile player. They invented the Walkman that many of us were very proud of, the Discman, and they even invented the MP3 player. They were also number one in a global distribution network. That means overnight they can distribute products all over the world. But why didn't they win? The main reason was they optimized their silos. And this is the game that Apple won. Now, with design thinking, the goal is to break out the silos and really help customers to innovate. Now, there is currently a big avalanche coming with the intelligent enterprise. Companies, organizations want to become more agile, more innovative, and leverage intelligent technologies to really boost their business. And if you look what happened in the last years in the book industry with Netflix, taxi with Uber, or if you look at Airbnb, there's a big disruption happening currently in many, many industries, in many companies and organizations. And there's an interesting quote that I really like a lot. In the new world, it's not the big fish which eats the small fish. It's the fast fish which eats the slow fish. And this is the reason why many of the big organizations, companies currently struggle and want to become more innovative and creative as an organization, not to being disrupted. Now, if you look at the successful companies, one of the insights that I derived is the technology is the enabler for disruption. And there are many amazing technologies that really help you. With cloud, mobile, artificial intelligence, machine learning, IoT. But what I like most is blockchain. That's pretty cool. Many people talk about it. The challenge is many people don't understand what it really is. Technology is really important. It is an enabler. But there is a second very important element why the companies that I talked about are successful. And this is the superior end-to-end customer experience. It's pretty easy. You can build the most amazing technology. If people cannot use it, you won't be successful with your product. And therefore, this is also the reason why design thinking is currently such a big topic in the entire industry and in the market. Analysts talk about it, companies talk about it. And if you look at this slide here, you see one picture from the Business Week. I call it the $35 million cover. This is a magazine that Hasso Plattner was reading before he went on stage at Sapphire in 2004. And he was reading an article about IDEO and design thinking. And when he went on stage, he said, wow, SAP now does design thinking. I said, pretty cool. Why did he say that? We asked him afterwards. And he said when he was reading this article, it was remembering him about how they started a company. When they started a company as a developer, he was sitting at the customer beside the user. He was programming, asking the user, iterating, going back and forth. It was not called design thinking at the time, but it remembered him about how they started with the company. And it was definitely not called design thinking. But now I think he said we became a very huge organization with 50, 60,000 people at the time. And he said we unlearned how to work with our customers and with our end users. And that's the reason why he invested 35 million of his private money in building up Stanford D School. He even invested money in the Hasso Plattner Institute. And I think it's a big movement within SAP since 2004 to change our culture within the company. Now, design thinking, this is not just about doing workshops and creating post-its. You have to look at it, it's something that creates business value. And there is an interesting research done by the Design Management Institute, and you can also look at this. They compare the market capitalization development of companies that significantly invest in design with the S&P index development over the past 10 years. And they show that companies who invest significantly into design have a higher market capitalization development. And we are very proud that now, since more than a year, SAP is part also of this index. And not just that, we are also very excited that SAP won tons of design awards to be recognized also externally. Now, design thinking is really about focusing on people, not just technology. Start with the people first. Now, if you look at innovation, many companies think about how can we become more innovative. And we have a simple formula. Innovation is creativity multiplied with execution. And if you look at our education at school, we are all trained to execute. There's a problem, we solve it. This is typically where everybody is good, or many people are really good in executing. There is a problem, let's solve it in the most efficient way as possible. If you ask people who is creative, you typically don't get a lot of hands. But creativity is about finding the right problem to solve, and this is exactly where design thinking is helping. And to be honest, it's not helping just to be creative without the capability to get it into the hands of people and execute it. And it doesn't help you if you create an execution, but you execute and implement the wrong thing that people don't need. Therefore, you get the power in combining both things. Therefore, I say there's never been a better time for designers. I will tell you why. And you also see that's not just our observation. If you look what's happening in the market, and in the last years, lots of design agencies have been bought by big companies, product companies, but also consulting companies, McKinsey, Accenture. They try to get these kind of skills into their organizations because they see the power of design thinking to do things in a different way. Let's make a number game. Now, if you look at the ratio between designer and developer for consumer software, I would say, to simplify it, 1 designer, 10 developers. If you look at bigger software companies, as we are and others, I would say the ratio is about 1 to 100. And if you look at the IT organizations of the SAP customers, sometimes they have thousands of people in IT, and they build a lot of user interfaces with their own people. Now, if you ask them how many design experts do you have in your organization, the answer is typically 0 to 1. It's changing the last couple of years, but still there are not too many designers. Let's simplify, let's say 1 to 1,000. SAP has 390,000 customers. Say 50,000 really big customers. Imagine if these 50,000 big customers want to increase their ratio from 1 to 1,000 to 1 to 10, only the SAP industry needs 5 million designers. This is huge. And to be honest, it's not about the number, it's 5 or 1 million. Just see there is a big need for designers in the enterprise environment. But there is still uncertainty. You see still on the market designers not finding the right jobs. But there is a reason for it. I'm going to tell you why. Now, if you look at design, the design discipline came out of art. Yeah? And you see now 2 chairs. You see an amazing chair on the left side, really nicely designed, and it's somewhere in the museum, probably won tons of design awards. On the other side, you see a really also nice chair, but a chair that made lots of money and created real value. And you see them in many, many offices. And there I would like to explain, if you design, you don't just design to make something beautiful, you design something to create a business value. Now, let's look at the design discipline and look what we designers preach to business and technology people. We always show these 3 circles with business, technology, and human, and tell the business people, take the user into consideration, focus on design. We say the same to the technology people. But what sometimes happens in the projects, the designers take their bubble out and say, I don't care too much about business. These are other people. Technology, same thing. I don't care too much about technology. These are other people. Designers have to eat their own dog food and understand more about business and more about technology. And if we do this, we create business value, because this is what design can really bring. If you combine all these 3 elements, you create business value. Now, I did a research at Google and look at the terms design thinking, UX design, visual design. You also see over time a change in how the keywords were used. And you see somehow the tipping point in 2015, where visual design, UX design, and design thinking was really changing. That means there's now more search for design thinking and user experience design, and not anymore about visual design. Now, I talked about design thinking and I talked about design, and people struggle. Is this the same? Is this different? What is it? Now, let me tell you what is happening, or what was happening. The design discipline started in product design. That means if you go into a supermarket, they know exactly what kind of products you like, what packages you like. Also, if you look at the products that you buy, they are typically very well designed. And then design went into more into software. That means into enterprise software, into consumer software, and now design is now used on a much higher level to even create new business models. I'm going to talk about that. You also see, and this is really interesting in customer organizations, there are usability teams, and beside there are design thinking teams. Now, because the usability team came out of improving the usability of the product, and the design thinking teams typically were created because of becoming more creative. And they went to, Stanford, HPI, IDEO, learning about design thinking, how to become more creative. Now, the designer always look at the design thinking people and say, hey, what they do, we do since a long time. Now, why are they different? And I tell you, there's a reason. Design thinking really helps you to working on a different way with your customers, with your users, in an interdisciplinary team, and the problems that you solve are not just related to usability. It could be process problems, business model problems, it could be organizational problems. It's just a way how to work really in a different way, in a creative way, in a very iterative approach. Now, designers typically focus on user research, interaction design, visual design. That means user research means people are trained, typically with a psychology background, how to ask questions to the end users and how to read what they really mean. If you look at interaction design, it's about visualizing how is the interaction with the system, what is the best way how people understand, and visual design is the emotional part about the aesthetics. Now, if you look a little bit in the history, it started 2000 with visual design, making things more beautiful and more attractive. Then the design discipline was fighting for getting involved earlier in the process, because just making something nice doesn't really help. You need to understand the needs of the people first, and then visualize, and then we use user research and interaction design in the process to become part of the process a little bit earlier. Meanwhile, design is used to find the right problems to solve, to co-create, and even reimagine your business models by doing the same thing. You involve the end users, the consumer, into the process from the beginning on. You try to understand the needs, you visualize the potential solution, and then you implement later on. Now, what is the solution? It's not about design thinking and just about design doing. it is about combining both of them. This means design thinking experts need to better understand design doing, user research, interaction, visual design, and design doers need to better understand design thinking. What are the capabilities? And if we combine both of them, we will have amazing capabilities and really in enterprises help to get design on a complete different level, on even a more strategic level. Now, I'm from SAP, and what most people know about SAP is this. SAP GUI screens. And this is how people still, many of you, experience SAP. But I have to tell you, this is 20-year-old software, or even older. But it's still used in organizations. And it's not like Facebook. Facebook has probably 30 pages that 1 billion of people use. SAP developed over time more than 300,000 screens. If you look at our partners and our customers, I would imagine the same amount or even more screens that are developed that people use. To change this, it's a much more complex problem to solve than just looking at 30 pages as Facebook has. And it means we really looked together with our customers, and we started this transformation to improve our experience and get an end-to-end experience across all solutions many years ago. And we work together with our customer, and we know it's not a one-time activity. It's a roadmap. It's working together with our customers to improve it over time. Because also, if SAP would do a miracle, and I told our customers, imagine we do a miracle. We had at the time 60,000 employees. Every employee takes 5 screens. And dear customer, next week you get all 300,000 screens, easy to use, HTML5, running on all devices. Here is the box, please install. How long does it take you as a customer to get it into the hands of all your end users? And if we talk about our big companies with hundreds of thousands of employees, the answer is typically 1 to 5 years. This means SAP alone will not be able to be successful, because we found out that at these customers, 30 to 50% sometimes of the screens are built by the customer IT organization or by partners. That means it's a little bit more complex problem to solve, and therefore this needs to be a stepwise, phased approach. Now, we invented SAP Fiori a couple of years ago, the design language for enterprise software, and we won several Red Dot Design Awards also for it, and we are working on getting Fiori experience across all SAP solutions over time. And we get a consistent experience for our end users, whether they use cloud solutions on-premise, whether they use solutions or companies that we bought, but getting a coherent experience across all SAP solutions. But to be very honest, it is not just about the experience on the user interface. Meanwhile, people start interacting and working with enterprise software in a different way. Not just with enterprise software, but you start seeing this in your private life, that you start interacting with software in a different way. Let me show you one example. This was Copilot, our digital assistant for the enterprise. But it shows you that this is a new requirement for the software, but also understanding how people interact with enterprise software. Now I want to show you a second example. Inscribe, one of the new products which is coming up soon. And this shows you a different way how people can interact with enterprise software. Let me show you the video. The user just has a pen, writes down a question, then interacts, gets the data out of the ERP system. For example, now here also gets rid of a column or adds a new column, selects an entry, getting more information about the line item that he selected or she, and then, for example, would like to see the revenue. And you see the revenue for the product. Now you would like to see it per month, and you see very nicely that is combining a natural way how to work with an enterprise system, combining handwriting with real data. And this is an example that shows you that there is a new demand and a need for designers to learn and do things in a different way. Now, I call it the Designer 2.0. Now, what does it mean? If you look at the role of a designer, it's a part typically of a team. Yeah, we have business experts, we have technical experts, we have people out of different disciplines, from IT, from business, and this designer plays a really key role. But one of the key success criteria, he needs to learn new skills. It's not just about user research, interaction design, and visual design. A designer needs to understand more about business and more about technology, that he or she can talk the language of the people and understands what they need. The second thing is, you need to look beyond the screen. It's not just creating a nice user interface, even on a mobile device. It's really understanding the end-to-end context of the user and seeing whether there are even other capabilities and possibilities to how the user can interact with the data. And Copilot is an example, or Inscribe that I showed to you. And you start experiences at home if you use Echo or if you use Siri and things like that. The third tip for success is you have to practice a clear communication. This is really key. And you have to tell the story. What do you really want to achieve with the design? What is the value of it? Why should people be interested in it? And to tell a story, we created a nice tool called Scenes. You can download it, it's for free. It helps you telling a story, how you apply, or what's the goal that you would like to achieve, how do people behave. And the reason why we created this tool is because many organizations start hiring graphics designers to create somehow a comic or a story. Most people are not good in drawing, therefore you can use the tool to create such comics and very easily tell the story. And there's one important thing. It really depends on, as a designer, with whom do you talk? I make an example. If I talk with a salesperson, I tell the salesperson, oh, at this customer we helped make 5 million. Then he starts listening. Wow, design helped me to make money? When I talk with a developer, I talk about money. He's not interested. He wants to know why, how is my product adopted? Do you have feedback to my product, how it can be improved? Yeah? Do people get it? Also, if you're at a customer, if you talk with a C-level executive, he's not interested in all the details. You need to understand what his or her needs are. If you talk to a CIO or a CEO, to a business person, to the IT organization, I think you really need to adapt, and this is really important. The communication skills of a designer are really key. The second thing, the fourth thing is a designer needs to be a catalyst for a cultural change, because design helps to do things in a different way, working with the customer, with the end user in a different way, that most organizations are not used, and it really requires rethinking, and designers can be and should be catalysts in organizations for a new way of working with customers. Now let's talk about some very concrete customer stories. Costco, a very, very famous company, especially in the US, and they approached us with following problem. They wanted to transform their retail bakeries, especially the forecasting process for products that they create. Make an example. If they produce a baguette, it's a one-day item. If they don't sell it, they have to throw it away. And that means they produce a lot of waste. Yeah? For sure, they give it to people who deserve it. But still, if they can better forecast what they need based on weather, based on events, what they have, based on historical data, then they can really save a lot of money and even achieve better results and make the life of the people in the bakery, especially the bakery manager, much better. I was also part of this project, and it was amazing and exciting to see that in one of the workshops, we had one of their SVPs responsible, I think probably for 11 billion revenue. We had IT organizations, the business people, and the bakery managers, the people who are the future user of the solution, in one room. And I tell you, this was eye-opening for the customer, because it's probably typically the first time where they all talk together. And this is what we start seeing in many, many customer projects. We did more than 700 projects in the last 5 years. And this is something where on the customer side, the methodology, the way of working really helps to bring the people together and find the right problem to solve, doing this together. And if you look now at the results, in a very short time frame, we were able, applying a design-led approach with our Leonardo intelligent technologies, we provided a solution that helps the bakery managers to do a better forecasting. And one of the results is that the customer says that the involvement of the end users from the beginning on was key to success. But if you look at the results, they say that the machine learning forecast outperforms one of their top performing bakery managers by 5%, which is great. And now the bakery manager has time to focus on what's really important, because in the past, all the data were in his or her head. And therefore, it's a great example for an intelligent enterprise project where, with machine learning, with applying a design-led approach, we really help create value for a customer. Now let's tell you another story. AMG, you know, the nice car sports version of Mercedes. And they approached us some time ago and asked us for, can you please help us optimizing our 3-year car development process? And what we did, we took the end users participating at the 3-year car development process, put them into one room, to one table, and let the end users model how they work. Now, the interesting thing was that we found out together that 50% of their challenges were not in software. These were organizational challenges. And the customers really excited about the insights. What we then did, together with the end users, we started visualizing potential solutions. We created mock-ups. We talked about it, we iterated, and then we brought in our custom development team to build a customer-specific solution. And Mr. Mers, the CEO of AMG, was really excited about this new way of working in a different environment, like in our app house, involving the end users, visualizing the mock-ups, being very, very agile, and he was really excited. And one result of this project was also then a follow-up project with Daimler, because Mr. Zetsche also has a big topic about changing the company to become more innovative and more creative. Now, as a next step, we also help Daimler to transform with design thinking. Now, what we did together, we trained design thinking coaches at Daimler. We together built on their main campus a building such a creative space like our app house, like a pop-up app house for 2 months, just right beside the canteen in Möhring, where all employees go for lunch. And in this space, together with Daimler, we did awareness sessions about design thinking with 1,500 employees. And Mr. Schütt, the CIO at the time, he mentioned that what now happened, it was a big wave within Daimler about design thinking, but the interesting thing was that now the business approaches proactively the IT organization and asks for help. Can you help us? That means with this, we start bridging also the silos that were created over the past in our customer organization between IT and business. And even our account people, they're very excited because they now talk to people in the business where they didn't talk about before. I mean, it's a great partnership. And the nice thing is, we didn't talk about products. For sure, there's one important thing that I have to mention. It is not just about becoming more creative. You need to execute. And what we can offer as SAP to our customers, we have all the amazing products. We have the technologies to turn innovation into reality for our customers. And this is also what happened at Daimler. They started with a few people, some really passionate people in their organization. Meanwhile, they have a team of 6 full-time employees, and we help them also during this transformation. It's really exciting to see this. And when I talk with Mr. Schütt and ask, what is the key success criteria to transform a culture in an organization? And he said there were 3 things. 1, you need to get top management buy-in, because if you do not have the buy-in from your top management, you don't have budget, you don't have resources, it's not going to happen. Find the right people was an important thing. Finding people who have a passion for it, who love the job, and they can be the multipliers, the evangelists within the organization. And the 3rd thing is you need to identify lighthouse projects. Because I tell you, if you get design thinking into an organization, and if you do not show real results after 6 to 12 months, and results for me means something implemented in the hands of people where they talk positive about the impact, I tell you, it will be that. It will be the next buzzword that was making a big noise within the company. You have to create value and constantly creating value and showing that design thinking helps organizations to become more innovative, more creative, and turning innovations into reality. Now, if you look at the innovation culture, it's currently a big topic because many companies want to change. For me, there are 3 elements that are important to change the culture. These are people with the right skills, business, technology, and design thinking and design doing. The process, which is design thinking combined with agile methodology. And this is also what I hear very often. Many people, companies do Scrum and agile and optimize the development process. But what I say, if you optimize the development process with agile and Scrum, if you get garbage in, you get very efficiently garbage out. That means design thinking complements this approach and helps you doing the right thing. And the last element is the space. The space also has an impact on creativity. And I would like to show you a video of our app house in Heidelberg. It's in an old tobacco building, doesn't look like SAP. You walk by Winsung Studio and a kindergarten, and we do workshops together with our customers in this space. And you see this doesn't really look like a typical office building. And all walls are writable, and even if you look at the rooms that you see here, these are rooms that are created and decorated by the employees. And this is something where you need to build an environment where people can really work together as a team. And that's the most important thing for us, to turn innovation into reality. We combine SAP knowledge with the knowledge of our customers, and we work together as one team and just make it happen. Now, we saw in more than 700 of our projects, many customers have a similar situation. They want to start with this topic, but don't know where to start. And the first starting point is finding out, where are you on the journey? What is your maturity level? And we created a tool called fosterinnovationculture.com. It's a questionnaire, 30 questions, take you 30 minutes. It's for free. go through it, and it will show you on which maturity level you are as an organization in the dimension of people, process, and place. And to be honest, it's a starting point of a conversation. Now, to change a culture and to do things in a different way, that's also about leadership. And this requires a different leadership culture. Some tips for leaders. You have to lead with passion. Means you need to convince people. You need to show examples. You need to, if you want to transform, you need to evangelize within your organization. And here's an example of Toby, one of the managers in my team. I work with him now since probably 13 years. And I think he's really passionate about the new way of working, new leadership. And recently he created an article within our internal SAP portal about future of work. And he said, oh, whoever wants, just join our app house, we do a breakfast and just exchange a little bit about learnings. What happened is created a movement, and we have now probably 300 people participating in this community, from the gardener to senior vice presidents, everybody who's interested, and having a conversation about the future of work. And I think this is where it only happens if you have a passion for a topic, and also if you as a manager let this happen. The second thing is it's about leading egoless. In this case, it's not about me as a leader of the team, it's about the team. And you see a picture, I'm sitting just in between where my team is sitting. We are really on the same level. For sure, I need to give some guidance. And I was asked at a team building event, what is your gesture of your work? And I said, it's this. Designers are very creative. They would love to get as much as possible freedom to become creative, but sometimes they have the challenge to really get it executed and on the street and goal-oriented. Therefore, my role as a leader is giving the boundaries where people have to go to and giving flexibility within the boundaries. And I have to tell you, it is not easy. It is sometimes there are projects coming out of the team that I never asked for. Scenes is an example. I didn't ask for this project, but the people were passionate and they just did it, and I give the room for it. But there, on the other side, there are also cases where I think about, wow, why did we spend that much effort? If I would have knew this earlier, I would have probably jumped in. And I think it's really learning and getting the right balance. The third tip, you have to empower your employees. In this new world, things are changing so fast. As a leader, you are not able to know all of that. And you are not able to make the decisions as fast. That means you need to empower your employees. They can make decisions on their own. And here's an example. If you look at these cable rolls, when we created our app house in Heidelberg, I give the task to the team to design the space. And I said, here's your budget. You can buy a sofa for 500 euro, 5,000, or for 5,000, I don't care. But you don't go over budget. What then happened, they brought sewing machine, they built the rooms on their own. And one morning I came in, and there were probably 12 of these old wooden cable rolls they got at eBay. And I asked, guys, what are you doing with this crap? Andreas, wait. What happened, they built on their own tables, standing tables, they built a bookshelf. And what happened is this really has a huge impact on employee engagement and employee motivation. I have to tell you, it is really a very exciting journey. It is a learning journey. It was a big learning journey also for me. And I encourage every designer to start this journey and really look broader, understand more about business, understand more about technology, put design on an even more strategic level, and do not just focus on the user interface and put yourself back and say, I'm just a designer, I don't care about the rest. Therefore, there's never been a better time for designers. It's really encouraging, and let's do this together. And I'm really interested, if you have any feedback, please let me know. You can contact me on LinkedIn, Twitter, or send me an email. I'm really interested in getting more insights from people outside. And with this, I would like to say thank you. And if you want to have more information, go to design.sap.com. Thank you.